come up to talk to us. They started to have a normal conversation with us, and we were continuing the conversation because we thought these guys were just being friendly.
Eventually, they started to ask some personal questions. They started asking, did you drive here? Do you have any extra money? Do you have any money that we could e-transfer? Because they really needed to get home because they lived far away.
It got to a point where these boys were very persistent on asking these questions after we had explained to them that we didn't have a car and we didn't have money to give to them, but they kept asking and asking and asking. This is when we started to think that this was not a harmless situation anymore.
The conversation eventually died away and they left. However, we were blinded by the fact that we were safe because we were in a crowded place. Just because we were in a public place and it was full of people did not mean that harmful things couldn't happen to us, and we didn't see this before.
Blindness is lack of perception, awareness, or judgment, which is essentially ignorance.
Ignorance can be used as a coping mechanism. Some people blind themselves with false realities so that they don't have to face the true reality. They believe that uncovering the truth could be potentially harmful to them, so they decide not to uncover it.
This is essentially ignorance is bliss, because some people rather know less than know more, because what they don't know can't hurt them. For instance, in Oedipus the king, Oedipus kept asking about who his father was, and he kept telling Jocasta, I want to know who my father is. And she kept steering him away from this topic, and she didn't want him to figure it out because she feared that there's a possibility that she can be his mother. She chose to be blinded into the situation because she wasn't ready for the answer and she didn't want to know more. She wanted to keep her knowledge to the minimum.
Jocasta didn't want to find out the true reality because she didn't want to face what she thought could be her reality, and she didn't want to find out who she truly was.
Because she essentially wasn't ready for this. People can also be unintentionally blinded by their capabilities, as instead of knowing that there could be more information but stopping yourself from learning about it, they simply don't know that there is more information, and they believe that what they do know is the whole truth. So they can be blinded by their weaknesses, by their strengths, or just other things in general that they could possibly be able to do.
This is shown in the play Oedipus the King. Oedipus is trying to find out who killed the former king and also his father, but he doesn't know that the former king was his father. He has his conversations with many people, and Tiresias says, you can be blinded by your own capabilities. However, Oedipus doesn't make the connection that he could be talking about him killing the king. So Oedipus goes on saying, no, he's not blinded by his own capabilities, without realizing that saying this, he is further blinding himself from the truth of the situation.
And this is all unintentionally blinded, as he simply did not know that he could have done this, because he didn't know his capabilities.
He didn't know that he was capable of killing the king because he didn't know who the king was.
So basically, blindness can happen in different ways in life. Some people choose to use this blindness as a coping mechanism because they don't want to know the truth. They'd rather be kept in the dark and be blinded to what the truth can be because they don't want to hear about it because they're not ready to know about it. Because this truth can be a truth about themselves, which they're not ready to admit to themselves, or even a truth in general, even if it's not regarding themselves because it's just too hard for them to deal with. Therefore, they see it as knowing less is less harmful than knowing more because what they don't know can hurt them.
Other times, people are unintentionally blinded. They could be unintentionally blinded by society, by themselves, or even just by others like their family and friends. People don't always have to know that they're being blinded. They could just not be given the right environment or space that they need to grow and realize their true potential and fully develop their true capabilities and realize what they can truly do.
Blindness happens very often to almost everyone, and it happens whether they do it to themselves or it happens to them unintentionally. It's just something that's unavoidable in life.